Hello, my class. We are going to be going through the arithmetic questions for today's lesson. Right, so make sure you have a piece of paper and a pencil and numbers 1 to 10, please. So your arithmetic for today are the following questions. 4 times 6, 5,671 plus 326, 459 as a Roman numeral. What number is the next in the sequence? 101, 98, 95, 92. 3 times 6, 96 divided by 6. 105 divided by 10, 6,788 divided by 2,542. What is 150 millimeters in centimeters? And what is 42 divided by 6? So pause the video now and complete these questions. We are going to be looking at finding the area of something by counting our squares. In the previous lesson, we were looking at the idea of area taking the space, and now we're going to find the area counting squares if we're using our mathematical paper of writing on our squared paper. So your learning objective is, can I find the area by counting squares? And we're going to be able to show that we can do that by counting the squares in a shape to find the area. So I'm going to start off with a quick challenge. So which one is different? Amy coloring the squares in her math book, Jermaine covering his desk with playing cards, a decorator painting a ceiling, Dylan measuring the width of the classroom, Mrs. Wilson deciding how much carpet she needs to buy, and Claire seeing how many labels she can stick on the front of her book. So quick challenge of which one do you think is different? See if you can quickly jot down an answer, and then I will talk about which one I think is the answer. So we already have discussed that the area of something is the amount of space. Let me get your shape. So this is what I want the area. My area is worked out by the space within it. So my area is the space within the shape. So if we look at these, if Amy is coloring in the squares in her maths book, she colors in a whole page. She's then going to be coloring in the area of that page. Jermaine covering his desk with playing cards, he's covering the area of his desk. A decorator painting a ceiling, if that is my ceiling and I'm covering the whole ceiling, I'm covering the area of the ceiling. Dylan measuring the width of the classroom. If this was my classroom, the width would be this way, so he's measuring here. Mrs. Wilson deciding how much carpet she needs to buy, and that would be to cover the whole room, which again is the area that she needs to take up with the carpet. And Claire seeing how many labels she can stick on the front of her book would also be the area of the front of her book being covered. So I think the one that is different is this one, Dylan measuring the width of the classroom, because he's not measuring the whole of the area of the classroom, he's only measuring the width. So well done if that's the one you chose, and I hope you had good reasoning behind it. Right, complete the missing information to find the area of this square. So before we start, it's important to note that the squares being used in this measurement are 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Okay. So that is 1 centimeter across, 1 centimeter down. Each of these small squares has a length, get the correct size, it has a length of 2 centimeters and a width of 2 centimeters. 1 centimeter and 1 centimeter. And that's what we've just discussed. We say that we are something squares and they each have an area of something square centimeters or something centimeters squared. So they are 1 centimeter squares and they each have an area of 1 square centimeter, and squared, if we're looking at it, is 1 times by 1. Okay, we do it like that. 1 squared, 1 times by 1, or 1 centimeter squared. So we write it like this, 1 centimeter squared. So we are now going to use what we've just learned about that, bearing in mind that this is a 1 centimeter squared square in there. It says, how many small squares fit inside the rectangle? So let's count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 7, 28. So we have 28 centimeters or 28 squares within that shape. So we say that it has an area of 28 square centimeters or 28 centimeters squared. So we are counting them up, and because we know that one square is equal to 1 centimeter squared, because it is 1 and 1, which is the same, because we'd work out the area by timesing this by this. So 1 centimeter, 1 squared centimeter is equal to that. There are 28 of those, 28 squares. Okay, so it is the same as saying 28 centimeters squared. Okay. Right, so let's do this together. It says, count the squares in each shape to find the area. Remembering that each square is 1 centimeter squared. Each square is 1 centimeter squared. We are going to count the centimeters, and that is going to be the area. So the area again is the bit that's inside this shape. Covers all of it. So let's count together how many squares there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 squares, which means the area is 9 squares or 9 centimeters squared. And I want you to remember to write that. Okay, let's look at the next one. It's the same. We're going to count our squares. Each square is 1 centimeter squared because it is 1 times by 1. 1 times 1 there. So let's count our squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the area is 10 squares. And remember, we write 10 squares is the same as 10 centimeters squared. The area of this shape, even though it's a bit of a strange one, let's count our squares again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there are 11 squares, and 11 squares is the same as 11 centimeters squared. That's what we said. So I would like you to find the area of this shape by counting the squares. So class 4T and class 4M are comparing the area in their classrooms. Whose classroom has the largest area? Explain your answer. So it does say to a friend, but I would like you to write it underneath. So you're going to say to me either class, you're going to choose which one, has the larger area because, and then you can tell me your answer. Think about what I said about adding up your squares within it. And obviously the larger number is going to have the larger area. Okay, so make sure you're counting them up and that we are comparing which one has a larger area. You can use the sentence that I've finished or that I've written, and you need to finish it. So class, whichever one it is, has the larger area because, and then explain your reasoning. Right, can I find the area by counting squares? These two shapes are made up of squares of the same size. So Jack's square has is this one, and Rosie's square is this one. Jack says these two shapes have the same area, but Rosie says the first one is bigger as it takes up more space. So who is correct? Tell me who is correct and explain why you know this is correct. Okay. Some true or false questions. And you're going to write A and give me a true or false, and then give me a reason behind your answer for these. Ellie makes a shape by coloring in 15 centimeter squares. Her shape has an area of 15 centimeters squared. Is that true or false? So I'm going to show you what we're talking about before. Let me just get my screen up. Okay, so I'm going to do the first one, saying Ellie makes a shape by coloring in 15 centimeter squares. Her shape has an area of 15 centimeters. Is that true or false? So if we look at these and we say that each one of these squares is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, she has colored in 15 of these. So let's see, we're going to color in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I haven't quite colored it in the fully, but you can get the idea. So I have colored in 15 centimeters or 15 squares. Okay, so the question says, Ellie makes a shape by coloring in 15 centimeter squares. Her shape has an area of 15 centimeters squared. So what do you think that will be? Bearing in mind that we've got 15 1 centimeter squares colored in. So there are 15. So she has got 15 squares. Okay, and that equals, right, so is that answer true or false? 70 centimeters means the same as 70 centimeters squared. Is that true or false? A carpet tile has an area of 1 centimeter. Lottie puts 9 of these carpet tiles together to make a square. It has an area of 9 square centimeters. Is that true or false? And then looking at the final one, the blue rectangle has a smaller area. Is that true or is it false? Let me just move this up here. Is it true or false? Right. Our independent work today is the following. Can I find the area by counting squares? Question 1. Here is a kitchen tile. What area of the tile is blue? So how many squares are blue? What area of the tile is white? How many squares? And what is the total area of that tile? So the blue and the white together. What is the area of rectangle A? What is the area of rectangle B? And what is the area of rectangle 3? So C. So that's task 1 and task 2. If you manage to finish all of that, we can move on to task 3. So I'm going to let you to pause the video now, try your task 1. If you manage to complete it, do task 2. Once you've managed to complete that, we can move on to task 3 and it's on the next page. So pause the video now and complete these 2 and then we'll move on. The final task is this one. Nisha and Eva are making shapes. They each use 6 squares. So Nisha's shape is there and Eva's shape is there. The area of Nisha's shape is equal to the area of Eva's shape. Is that true or false? And how do you know? So is it true or is it false? Give me an answer to that. Don't forget to share your answers on Tapestry. You have been working really hard and it's been really nice to see the work that you've been doing. So please make sure it is uploaded by 4 o'clock.